What we want is that the people who like this charity, and the people who like that one, and the people who like that group, and the people who like this project, they buy the money. And they buy the money with real money, if I can use that term. So what happens is this stuff flows in this direction for an exact equivalent exchange of this stuff in the other direction. You with me? A dollar is a dollar. No messing with percentages, no slides, no nothing. You give me 500 bucks, community dollars, and I'll give you 500 hard dollars. Then what do I do with these dollars? Well, I come back and spend them in here. Obviously, that's where they go. And they spend with the businesses at a percentage. So the business has control over, a restaurant would say, I'll do 50% cash, 50% local. That way my cash costs are covered, right? Because they got to pull meat out of the freezer or, pay the bill. There's fixed costs, staff costs. But an empty table is an empty table. A theater or a sports stadium might say 100% 5 minutes before kickoff, right? A gas station would have to say something like 10%, 90% cash, maybe 95% cash. Their margins are pretty damn tight and they've got a high outflow of cash. The obligation that they have undertaken is not to sell 100%. Their obligation is to accept this as a credit for a purchase at the terms they describe. So a restaurant, 50% is a good shot. A grocery store can do 20%. Big one, 15%. Now I know that, on milk they make 2% if they lose on some product. But they make a hell of a lot on others. And the average gross margin for commercial supermarkets is between 20 and 15%. So if you come in at a supermarket and say, we've donated, you come here and we receive it at 15%, you're going to make a market differentiation that brings a lot of customers to your door. Customers are happy because where did they get the money? They got it by supporting, the school orchestra, the hospital extension, the microcredit fund, right? So they've done 2 bangs for the buck. I did good things. I do well too. So what's happened for the business? They gave away a currency, made a contribution, did their corporate social responsibility, cost them no cash up front. A related community of individuals, and let's face it, it's not everybody. The number of people who will be related to this is probably in the region of 15% of the population. Because that's the number that actually support this group. 90%, 85% of people don't support charities at all. And they won't. Don't waste time on it. But the ones you want to talk to are the people who've tapped out with their donations. I gave cash, I gave cash, I gave cash, can't give any more. They want to do more. They know why more is needed. Okay, here they can put the cash in, not lose their spending power because they can spend it in the business.
It seems to me like it might activate more donations, actually, rather than focusing on the people that can't give anymore, the ones that want to give but don't have any disposable income.
Precisely.
And they're spending that money already anyway.
This could be a single mother on welfare. If she can offset a grocery bill by 50 bucks a month, she can put 50 bucks a month into her kid's daycare.
And still get the groceries.
And she's not lost a penny. The senior citizen on a fixed income, who are a major proportion of moral and financial support in this sector. Now they can divert more of their cash flow because they can spend in this area. Okay?
I've worked in nonprofits and I'm familiar with this model. Why would I adopt this kind of model when I'm already doing this without this model? Like, I have an auction, I go to the businesses, I solicit exactly that type of donation, I have my auction, people bid on those items, I get cash for that, then they go and redeem the coupons. Well, I mean, why would we create a whole other layer?
Because it's a damn sight more efficient. I mean, if you look at the scale that you do that at, you've got to go to each business. You've got to extract from them a variable degree of promise. Then you unitarily sell that. This is an important point. The person who buys the night at the hotel has bought the night at the hotel. They couldn't do part gas and part groceries. So they've lost the flexibility. Secondly, your setup costs are huge. The costs of running your system are big. Thirdly, the rate. Auctioning stuff. Pernicious. Some things raise more than they're worth. Other things are a disaster for these guys. Turns out they get 42 cents and they're putting out 3 months of work or something. There's an inequity in the cycle. Basically, we take all that's good in what you're doing and we say, let's do it. Let's do it bigger. Let's do it with flexibility so that your money can go back into 20, 30, 50, 500 businesses instead of 2 or 3.
The other point is that in that model, the businesses are discounting. In this model, when the money comes back to the business, it doesn't stop there. They're earning the community way dollars. They can spend them. So what we've set up here is a circulating currency that for businesses isn't a discount. That's an important one.
Right, that is the core reason for all this. I mean, yes, it's good to raise money. Yes, it's good to give people options. Yes, it's good to give individual businesses a means of donating that feeds back to them. This is really critical. Businesses want to make donations that produce results. As long as you get cash, nothing except a notice on the program. This way it comes back. But Ernie's point is what we're after. They'll all come back at different rates. It's like a Mexican wave moves around the stadium. You know what I mean? Well, a few businesses will get the first inflows, other ones will be behind and slower. So, this business will sort of issue 5,000 as a restaurant. He gets a lot of traffic, he's back to zero. What should he do? He can say, done, finished, which would be like your model with the gift certificates and the round and round. But he can also say, hey, look at this, I'm bringing in customers, I'm getting traffic, and I can take in this money and then spend it with the other businesses that are still negative. So Ernie's point about it being not a discount. See, all the air miles, all the club points, all the shopper buyback things, they basically, for the business, amount to shaving their profit margins and getting nothing but more traffic. We're saying to them, modify your business margins, make a different money, and spend it. And it's sort of this is like putting the kid on the bike and giving them a shove. After a while, they're easy. This is the bike. Yeah, Henry.
So the cost of this is borne by businesses. But you can't create money,
yes,
from out of thin air. So the
yes,
business is ultimately...
Just a minute. You said you can't create money from thin air?
Yeah, what I'm saying is, so real cash is going to the non-profits, right? And so the cost of that is borne by the businesses.
Yeah, in this model,
so their margins are definitely also affected.
What they are doing, and the trouble is I got 2 things laid on here. If you took the charity out of this, it would still work. It wouldn't work half as well. If we said this is just about businesses issuing money to employees, to staff, to each other, circulating, that would work, but it'd be a hell of a job to get going, because nobody would want to be first. Nobody wants to say, I'm not going to take cash now, I'll take your credits. So this is a very slow process if you tie it that way. Coming this way, we get power. But don't confuse the fact of a charitable donation with the implementation of the money. Yes, this is entirely created by the business's willingness